Hello, friends who are watching this interview through Solidarity Mail Club. My name is Kiana, and I am the primary steward for this project. You've probably received my words either through our newsletter or through these videos like this. I am super duper excited to be with Sara today, who is our featured artist for the Mail Club issue going out this month of July. Sara, can you please just introduce yourself to the folks who would be watching this?
Yeah. So my name is Sara Grochowski. It feels weird to call myself an artist because until very recently, I did not feel like I had any talent or was an artist. I always just thought I was kind of I don't know, just a book person. So I guess I'm kind of a multimedia artist and I work in publishing.
I love it. I'm actually a little shocked that you said you don't identify as an artist. Sara shares a lot on Instagram of like artwork that she's making. Just it seems like you actually have a very like thorough art practice.
It's very new.
I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
your work is so incredible. I always really enjoy seeing what you share. Um, so artist, multimedia artist, bookish person. And can you tell us about the artwork that you made for us?
Yeah. So the piece is called Hope is a Thing with Feathers. And I know that phrase from the poem, but I don't even know if I had read the poem in full. But when I was making it and when the birds kind of came into the piece, it just felt like the appropriate title. I was just thinking about how important hope is in for change to feel like we can make a difference in the world. It's hard for people to feel motivated or like they can make a difference if there's no hope at all. And I've always just felt like, as someone who's really struggled with their mental health and things in the past, just the question on the form where they always ask, like, do you feel hopeless? Like, that has always been like such a huge barometer in my life. And I just know from like going through times when it was like either a mental health struggle or just circumstances in life or the system is like against you, like hope is the one thing that makes you want to fight another day. That was just something that I was thinking about and the one thing that we all have to have.
I love that. Thank you. I've actually never encountered the poem, and so I am curious what the language of hope is a thing with feathers, like what does that mean to you specifically?
Yes. So I think the reason that that ended up being the line that came to me is because the piece itself has a person climbing up these like leaves essentially. It kind of has a little bit of like a Jack and the Beanstalk vibe to it. And if you look at it, like the colors used for the leaves on the outside are kind of darker and like reds and things. And then where the character is climbing up, it's more a bright background. There's like spots of gold, there's brighter colors and greens. And so that with the birds was really reminding me of how hope lifts us out of the situations that we're in or helps us to see the light to climb towards something. That's, I think, as I was working on the piece, I think maybe that's what I was feeling at the time a little bit, that I was working my way back towards hope after a darker time.
Mm. As you were saying that, yeah, that's so accurate. I think as far as like what hope can do for us, I was recently going through a hard time too, and as you were saying that, like in my body, I feel like I was sort of brought a little bit back to that moment recently and how it was really centering myself around like some type of hopeful outcome that it's this sort of sensation of literally being lifted out of the thing. I love that. And then yeah, I do really love the sort of imagery that you have of this person like kind of like climbing up Jack and the Beanstalk style, absolutely, and sort of breaking through there. I'm curious if there's any particular like thinking that was happening as you're sort of arranging these pieces. I'm not a collage artist, but it seems like premeditated design
Yes.
versus if it's just like, off the riff sort of thing.
Yeah. So I recently read a book actually that in it one of the characters is a collage artist, and she talks about how collage is like making meaning out of like disparate pieces kind of thing, like, and that's absolutely true. And usually how it starts for me is just, a certain image. And so it was the climbing character that I just, and then I think I take a lot of inspiration from nature. And so I just think of things a lot in terms of plants and nature. I grew up in northern Michigan,
Mm.
and so, there's like a lot of this like overgrown spaces, or I mean it's everywhere in the Midwest really, and probably outside of the Midwest, but that's where I'm most familiar. And so yeah, I think that it kind of comes from that, from it was springtime, everything was coming back alive, and I felt like I was climbing my way through some weeds from the winter for sure.
Hmm. Hmm. Uh, those are all the questions that I have for you today. I did want to add, so I have a collaborator that I work with on this project, and we'd ordered the postcards with the design, and we were together when I had opened them up, and their reaction was they were just so blown away. Like
Well, that makes me
they
so
were
happy.
just such a fan of this, of this piece in particular. It is so beautiful and so wonderful. So
Thank
thank
you.
you. Question that has now come to mind for me. I do identify you as someone who is in our community who is a world builder. It just, I think I see from you online in particular, things that you share in a particular perspective that is about wanting for people in our community healthier, more whole, etc. I'm just curious if you can share a little bit about some of what world building looks like for you in your daily life, and the world that you're trying to create.
So I think I get overwhelmed sometimes thinking of like how much I can't do,
Mm.
how much like I wish that I could like provide housing for people and just like be the one who goes out and fights the ridiculous battles that they like shouldn't have to fight essentially. Um and so to not get overwhelmed, I try to break it down into little parts. So, what are the things that I have skills in that I can make a difference with? Or what resources do I have that I don't need? I mean, I think I don't think people like to hear this a lot, but I really think that allyship and being there for your community means making yourself uncomfortable a lot of the time. Not all the time, and there's a lot of good feelings that come from it too, but I think that like that's a big part of it for me, is like being like, okay, what is just me like wanting to automatically like protect myself or like do that individualism thing versus what can I give. So like for me, even though it's not a huge thing, like talking to people about books, putting books in little free libraries that I know probably aren't out there on free tables and things all the time, so that, someone who can't make it to the library can find this book with themselves in it. Or a lot of peer sharing when I have some extra funds to give to someone. Like I've been there and I know what it's like when you only have $5 left and you go 60 cents over and now it's negative 25, whatever. Like every little bit counts. And I think that's the thing for me, is just when I see an opportunity that I can help someone, really look at whether or not I can do it and not just keep walking.
I love because one of the things I appreciate, I think, about world building work and what it can encompass is like sometimes it can be easy to jump to like, I don't know, people with tons of power who are doing, running massive organizations or something. And then other times, though, world building definitely looks like dropping off books that people otherwise wouldn't have access to and making it more accessible to them. I love that.